Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. To see her is to take a sudden chill. Cruella de Vil. The curl of her lips, the eyes in her stare. All innocent children had better beware. She's like a spider waiting for the kill. Look out for Cruella de Vil. At first you think Cruella is the devil, but after time has worn away the shock, you come to realize you've seen her kind of eyes watching you from underneath the rock. This vampire bite, this inhuman beast, she gotta be locked up and never released. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella de Vil. Woo! Yeah! Ba 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 da ba 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 ba. Bum bum. Hey! Ba da da. Oh, oh, oh. Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. To see her is to take a sudden chill. Cruella de Vil. The curl of her lips, the eyes in her stare. All innocent children had better beware. She's like a spider waiting for the kill. Look out for Cruella de Vil. At first you think Cruella is the devil, but after time has worn away the shock, you come to realize you've seen her kind of eyes watching you from underneath the rock. This vampire bite, this inhuman beast, she oughta be locked up and never released. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella de Vil. Ha! Woo! Oh, Cruella de Vil.
Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Disney Pod. I am your host, Ray Goots, and it's episode 2 of season 3, the live action remakes. We are in 1996 with 101 Dalmatians. And with me is Mike Guild. Mike,
Hey,
how are you?
everybody. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming back onto the podcast. This is such a thrill to have you back on. So Mike, the last time you were on this show was January 16th, 2020. I almost burped while talking to you. What have you been up to since January of 2020?
I have been avoiding COVID since,
Okay.
since then. I moved down to Florida. Moved back in with my parents for a little while, and then found some work down here. Found my own place, and just been riding this thing out, man. Just trying to. I work by myself, which is perfect. So I don't have to be around people at all. And then, just not performing really, but still writing. And I've actually been working on a novel, and I think you'll like this part, about pro wrestling.
Oh, wow. So what made you want to write a novel about pro wrestling?
I had a roommate that was he was like an encyclopedia for wrestling. And it would be so fun to like sit around with him for hours and get high and just be like, whatever happened to this person? And he would go through their whole storyline as a character and then tell me what happened with them in real life. And like, it was always great. He knew everything about everybody. And he started telling me about like, the good parts of wrestling nowadays. And, I ended up watching a few pay-per-views with him. And then he got me into AEW, and I've been watching AEW for like a year and a half now.
Now, have you been going to the AEW? Because now they have fans since October. Have you been going to see AEW?
Well, it's in Jacksonville, so it's like kind of an asshole drive, but yeah, I haven't gone yet, but I'm sure I'll make it out there at some point.
Every other state, I always assume everything's so close to everyone. Like, oh, it's in Jacksonville. It must be right next to Miami. And I forget how big other states are. Like, it's not just like, I'll just walk to Jacksonville and see AEW.
I mean, what sucks too is like, I can't, if I drive out there, the show ends at like 10, 11 o'clock. And then, I might hang out for a little while. So it's like, you wouldn't even leave until midnight. And then you get home at like 3, 4 in the morning. It's just not that feasible as an adult.
I hear you. And I'm sure, like, I don't know, I'd be weirded out being around. That's why I didn't go to WrestleMania this year. I'd just be weirded out being on top of people like that,
Oh yeah, WrestleMania was right down the street from me, and I'm sure there'll be many, many outbreaks because of it.
Yeah, the first night they all had masks on. Then by night 2, the masks were just off, and I was like, okay, I guess because they had. I read something. If you take your mask off, you get kicked out. That was like the rules you had to agree to. But the other rule you had to agree to was even if you get COVID, even if it's due to Vince McMahon's gross negligence, you can't sue him. And I'm like, oh, so it basically means Vince can walk up to you, cough in your mouth, and you have to just be like, thanks. Okay, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of hard to prove in a court of law whether or not Vince is the one that actually gave you COVID. And
well, like in other words, like they stopped enforcing keep your mask on by night 2. So like if people did get COVID from each other, they can't blame the WWE. They have to just accept that they're just a bunch of idiots. So now, what made you stop performing as much? Or did you fall out of love with it, or is it COVID, or?
Yeah, just COVID. It felt irresponsible. I went to a few outdoor open mics, but when I was going to get my footing back and I did one show inside at a club, and everything felt wrong, and everybody wanted me to do jokes about COVID, and I don't know. It's not that funny to me, I guess. So other people have made it funny, but for me, nothing's come to mind that like I want to write and make a joke out of. So,
I kind of feel the same way about you. I really feel like even now with the New York comedy clubs reopening, it's very irresponsible to have indoor shows, and I feel weird about it. I feel like we're all doing the wrong thing, and a lot of comics who have never stopped doing indoor shows, basically like if you're afraid of doing indoor shows, you're not a real comic, or if you're like, do you remember Andrew Lee? Did you ever meet him?
I think so.
Okay, he's my partner in my wrestling podcast, but he hasn't left his apartment. But he leaves his apartment, but he hasn't gone to the city to do stand up or do anything since COVID started because of his mom. And people ask me if he's okay, if he's mentally ill, if he had a breakdown. It's like, no, he's actually listening to the CDC. Like he's, like if you listen to the CDC, people just assume that you're having a mental breakdown. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you must be mentally ill, that you actually care for people. But like every now and then, like when the comedy clubs have reopened, I kind of felt bad that I wasn't doing any shows. But like every now and then I'm like, you know what, long term, I'm gonna do I feel like this is the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like sitting it out and only doing outdoor shows. Because I feel like outdoor shows are safe. I feel like you can do those. But sitting this out and waiting, I think is gonna be the right thing,
Yeah, comedy it'll be there. It won't go away anytime soon, I'm sure. So I'm not in any rush. Honestly, this is the first like real break I've had in a long time. So it was weird at first to get back into normal sleeping habits, but now it's nice to not have to think about writing a joke about everything I think about.
I know, because you were very busy. You were Mr. Industry back in the day. You were
I'm still him deep down. I'm still Mr. Industry deep down. I've buried it under a bunch of relaxing beach vacations.
Okay, you turned your back on the industry that named you Mr. Industry. What did you think of the Creek in the Cave closing? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it was always a fun place to start out at. I mean, if you were serious about doing stand-up or any really form of comedy, like that was a good place to learn. Maybe learn a little more of the don'ts than the do's, but you still learn. Yeah. I'm sure that Rebecca will land on her feet. And
Well, she's already in Austin.
yeah, so I'm sure that the Austin thing will work out just fine. So, you know, I hope New York comedy survives, but at the same time, I hope that it evolves, and I
It's
hope New
not-
York as a whole, I hope the city as a whole evolves to the point of saying, you know, taking more appreciation, giving more appreciation for poor people and the people who actually make that city run.
It's not evolving. It literally is like we're gonna go right back to December when you left. Like it is shocking how people. It's shocking that nobody had like an epiphany or a moment of like Zen or anything during this. Like people literally just sat in place, and were like, as soon as they could. Or I'm going back to exactly what I was doing on March 10th, 2020. Like I didn't have any growth. I didn't like learn anything. I didn't like, appreciate or make new friends. I'm literally gonna book the same people I was booking in December of 2019. I'm like, it's just hilarious to me that there's been little to no growth in your comedy scene. It's kind of funny and also very embarrassing, I think.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens on the other side.
We'll have to wait and see if so the numbers are spiking up again here in New York, but they kind of just ignore it here in the press. But listen, listen. When we started the podcast, we were kicking ass as comedians, and now we're trapped in our bedrooms. But one thing has not changed is that we're still talking about 101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah.
This time we're talking about the live action remake. We covered the original 64 version. I knew a lot about that movie. This movie I know next to nothing about. I still do. I didn't really do a lot of research, but I watched it first time ever, and you watched it. What did you think of 101 Dalmatians, the live action version?
I liked it a little more than the animated one.
Really?
I don't like talking animals.
Okay.
It's got to be done very in the right way for me to be entertained by it. But so the cartoon, has all the animals are talking to each other and stuff, and it's like I do like that they didn't talk in this one, but I gotta say they give all these weird CGI facial expressions to the dogs like throughout the movie, and it just completely took me out of it. And there's like whole scenes where dogs are just barking at each other and you're supposed to kind of understand what they're saying. And I'm like, yeah, maybe some subtitles here would help. But I thought what's his name? Jeff Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was great. The movie's weird. The movie it's two different movies. At the halfway point, it just changes the entire, like, the main characters in the movie are Jeff Daniels and his wife. I can never remember the actress's
Your name is Zoe Fisher. I'm gonna look. I usually have a cast list. I'll pull up my phone. I think it's Zoe Fisher, but I'll correct you if it's not her.
She, like, they have this great chemistry throughout the beginning of the movie, especially how they meet. And then I do like that they gave Cruella de Vil, like,
Jolie Richardson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
Mm-hmm.
I like in the cartoon, you're supposed to believe that the wife and Cruella de Vil like went to school together, but Cruella de Vil looks like she's about 30 years older. So it never made any sense to me. Like, I always thought she was like her mom's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or like her aunt or something. But then in this one, it makes sense. Like, they tie it together better where she's her boss. Cruella de Vil's like the head of a big fashion company, and she is a designer for the company. And I thought that it makes more sense plot wise. But then again, it's John Hughes. I didn't know John Hughes had anything to do with this movie, but he produced it apparently. So,
and he wrote the script.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of John Hughesy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once you know that, you can start spotting, like, Hugh Laurie is essentially playing Marv from Home Alone.
Yeah, there's a lot of Home Alone in this.
Yeah. Two bad guys get electrocuted, which I think happens in every John Hughes movie ever made.
After Home Alone. There's a weird thing with John Hughes, where his first half of his career, he's making like teen movies that are very like, that still speak to people today. People still talk about Breakfast Club and Some Kind of Wonderful stuff. And then there's this era where he's just like kind of recreating Home Alone with different characters.
Over and over again.
Yeah, whether it's Baby's Day Out, which he also wrote, or this movie, or Home Alone 3. Like, he just keeps recreating that. And he wrote Dennis the Menace. He's just making really, really kiddie movies. And I always wondered like what made him go to, maybe it was the money, it was easy money,
Well, I got to say that like in Home Alone, and I guess throughout Breakfast Club, throughout his career, he's always made movies for a specific age range, but can be appreciated by anybody. But at the same time, he always throws in like conversations and content about things that are like a little bit too old. Like in Breakfast Club, they're talking about drugs and drinking and everything, and that's not, supposed to be what's for teenagers. But then at the same time, like there's a lot of adult humor in Home Alone.
Oh yeah, no, Home Alone. I think Home Alone's his last great movie. Oh, maybe Curly Sue. I remember liking Curly Sue, but I never really rewatched it. I don't know. Did you ever see Curly Sue?
Maybe a long time. I might have to go back and do a John Hughes rewatch on all of his stuff.
They were positioning the actress who played Curly Sue as like the female Macaulay Culkin. I guess like we were all those little boys supposed to get boners over her or something. I don't know. And it didn't pop off, and I don't know what Curly Sue's doing now. But I remember I saw the movie, and it was okay, but like I know I didn't hate it. I just have to rewatch it. So
yeah, we'll do that for season 5.
well, that's not a Disney film. We're gonna have to do a John Hughes podcast.
Yeah, we'll start a John Hughes podcast. They also updated Jeff Daniels. What I think happened is they really liked Jeff Daniels as the role, but he can't sing. So they brought in. So they were like, "Well, fuck, we can't make him a songwriter because we got this big musical number. What do we do?" And so they just made him a video game designer.
But by the way, they had no idea how video games are made. You could tell. Like,
your first clue is that there's like one of the opening scenes of the movie is like he's having a meeting with like video game designers and everybody's wearing suits.
Yeah,
like, that's not how video games get made, dude. These people wear fucking basketball shirts.
Also, like you. I mean, some guys do, but you don't make it. If you're a video game guy, you're not making video games like you write books or do comedy. You go try to get with a team and program a video game. You're not like, this is my idea. You're not pitching it like you pitch movies,
Yeah, he made like a whole level to a video game, which had to have taken months. And then he just
in 1995, computers.
He pitches it to like a 5-year-old, and the kid's like, "Sorry, dude, this game blows," and he just walks out on him. And they're like, "Sorry, I guess we're not gonna buy your video game." Does that mean he makes no money? Like, what? I don't understand how they think video game companies work.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was a video game until I thought he was like pitching like a cartoon or something. Like, because I was happy attention. Because I'm like, and then I'm like, wait, there's no way he's pitching a video game like that. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, his video game was essentially it was the original 1960s cartoon 101 Dalmatians. Like, it was like a cut scene or something. Or it was the exact same animation, and they were like, "This is what video games look like, right?" They didn't try to make it look anything like.
Yeah, they didn't. They really did. Well, then when the video game that was a success, there's not even graphics that good nowadays. Like, do you remember when the video game that became a hit is them like, it's like the dogs and Cruella chasing each other? You remember that?
Yeah, there was a. It's from like a point and click video.
Oh, okay, because the graphics were so good. I was like, they were not that good in 1990.
There is a video game that came out a few years ago that's really good called Cuphead, where the animation, it looks like old school Disney animation, all the graphics and everything. So it looks like you're playing like a cartoon from the 50s. It's incredible. It looks in the soundtrack.
Mike, are you touching something? Because I'm hearing a lot of noise with your mic.
I'm scratching around on my computer.
Oh, okay. Just I can hear that on the mic. I just, we're doing audio only. I liked Jeff Daniels more. I kind of felt like he should have got a different job. I liked the relationship more than the animated series. But that's about it. Well, I'll tell you what else I liked. What I thought was fucking phenomenal, and she actually got nominated for Golden Globe, was Glenn Close. I think without Glenn Close, she's a complete piece of shit. Yeah.
She completely makes the movie, and that's why I think, like, as I was saying, halfway through the movie, the whole plot just changes to be about this couple and their baby and their dogs and everything, to being about just straight up Cruella de Vil chasing around these puppies. And it's because she's so good. Like, she encapsulates the cartoon Cruella de Vil really, really well. Like, she has all these little lines and stuff that she says, and it sounds exactly like the cartoon. But then she fleshes out the character a lot more. And that's what's got me excited for Emma Stone playing. I had no idea that this movie was a thing until I watched it on Disney Plus, and it said, "Oh, hey, would you want to check out the trailer for Cruella?" And I watched it. It looks incredible.
It
looks
does look really
amazing.
good, Cruella. Yeah, and Glenn Close is executive producing it, so it's an official prequel to this movie. So it's this
Okay,
version.
it makes sense. I would love to see how Cruella becomes evil and she lights herself on fire at one point. That's pretty dope in a kids movie.
Yeah. Somebody said it's
Self-immolation.
Disney's version of the Joker. And I'm like,
Oh, it does. It does really. That's what it reminded me of. The trailer like really feels like like a Disney kids version of the Joker, which
Yeah.
is great. I love that idea already.
well, yeah, well, I think the big thing, I think they're going to stay away from animal abuse or her going after animals. I think the big thing is she's going to gain control of that company. And then they're going to end it with her like getting into fur. So I think it's going to be like a heist movie or something. Like she's going to be treated like shit by her bosses. She's probably going to get Me Too'd. And then she's going to go crazy, become Cruella, like frame them for some sort of like extortion deal or something, and then get the company, and then it'll end with her in charge of that company, which I think
Yeah,
would be great.
I think there's gonna be like a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman scenario.
Oh, there's nothing going to be like a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman scene where she comes.
She's gonna be normal, and then she's gonna end up like the company's gonna try to kill her or something, and she ends up going crazy because of it and takes on this whole Cruella persona. She shows up and she just decides to take revenge on everybody.
Yeah, I do think the fur love. One of my friends was like, "Oh, but Americans have a weird view. Furs are okay," and I'm like, "Okay, that's true." But you're not going to sell a movie to families. If I don't think you should have her be into furs. Have her be into furs after the movie ends. Maybe end it with her looking at a fur and be like, "Ooh," you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's a nice little nod to. Well, in this one that we watched, the 1997 version, they talk about how most of the stuff that they make is not real fur, but the
they
stuff
were already
she
kind of
wears,
moving away from it. Yeah.
like she wears the real stuff, and then the stuff that they make and sell is not real fur.
Yeah, well, because it's okay when she's a villain. When she's like the villain, it's okay for her to be like, "I want fur," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think she's supposed to be the hero of Cruella. She can't. I don't think you can have her be like, "Oh, unless they're really ballsy. Oh, I want to murder some puppies and get some fur." You know what I mean? Like, it's not you can't really root for her.
Yeah, she'll probably hate fur, and then at the end of the movie, she like breaks it. I forget who's playing the villain. It's not Helen Mirren, right? It's
No, look it up.
it's she'll love fur. Cruella will hate fur, and then at the end of the movie, she'll like
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson, yeah, she'll have stolen like all of her furs out of her closet or something. That'll be, that's the boss's like her main love. So it'll be great. I have very high expectations for that movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I do too. Here's the thing. So this movie, I think, started off very good. Middle part was pretty good. The ending fell flat. I'll tell you why the ending fell flat. And it wasn't because of Glenn Close, but the final confrontation of the movie is Glenn Close in a barn fighting farm animals. I think she fights a beaver or something, or
there's some raccoons.
She fights a raccoon. And I kind of thought, like, this movie's been building to a confrontation between her and the family or her and the dogs. And now she's fighting a raccoon, which is the equivalent of at the end of Harry Potter, a bunch of ducks show up and like kill Voldemort. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there is a really horrifying scene in that barn scene where she picks up a bunch of puppies are hiding in like haystacks, and she picks up a pitchfork and just starts stabbing the shit out of them. And it's like really horrifying to watch. Like I knew she wasn't going to hit any of them, but it was still like terrifying. Yeah, it is like a couple of times I was watching with a friend of mine, and a couple of lines she gives where she's just basically, "I want to kill the dogs." And I'm like, Jesus, now I have two dogs. I don't know if you heard the news, but I have two dogs. I don't know if you
did.
Saw me post about that.
And a cat.
Talk about it on stage, but I have two dogs, and seeing like this character in the Disney film just go on about murdering dogs and how happy she'd be to murder the dogs, and even the sidekicks were like that too. I kind of feel like nowadays they would tone that down. They would have "let's get the dogs" or "bring me the dogs," not like "kill it," because she kept like "kill the dogs," like, But I gotta tell you, man. So I didn't like the ending. I'm watching fucking poor Glenn Close fight the raccoon, but she is giving so much in that scene with the raccoon. She is not. She's treating it like it's Fatal Attraction, like it's the movie she got nominated. Like it's what's another movie she got, Dangerous Liaison and stuff. She's treating this completely serious. She's not like dogging it. She's not like this is a dumb fucking kids movie. She is treating this raccoon like it's Jack Nicholson, and she is so fucking good in this film. I think she should have won the Oscar that year. Because here's the thing, I think Helen Hunt won that year. You can be a great actor with Jack Nicholson or like with Tom Cruise and Leonardo DiCaprio. You're feeding off something, or Meryl Streep is your partner. You're feeding off. But if you're talking to basically a stuffed raccoon in a barn on a set of a Disney film, and you're able to emote like that, you are the best actress. You have a shitty script, you have a weird scene, and you're delivering. You're the best actress, not the person who got to like have something actually interesting to say. You are the best actress, I think.
I can't disagree with you. She nailed this whole performance, and I see now why they made a shitty sequel nobody even knows about, because they were just they paid her an ungodly amount of money to make a sequel.
And I think
to put her back in that wig.
Well, I'll tell you, when this came out, my mom wanted to see it in the theaters, and I was just like, absolutely not. But I did buy her the VHS tape, and she loved it because of Glenn Close. Having Glenn Close in this movie back then was such a cachet. You know what I mean? It was the equivalent of, well, now I think that I feel bad. That's somebody else. That's some girl. Anyway, I feel bad but I'm doing this. I didn't pick up the phone, though. I thought I picked up the phone. Okay. So anyway, okay. So it was a cachet to people like my mom, my dad, where it's like, this is not just a kids movie. This must be something great that Glenn Close agreed to this, because now we're so used to big stars just doing dopey kids movies and being in Marvel films and stuff. I think the only person really holding out is DiCaprio, but everyone else just runs and does these films. But back then they didn't. Back then there was still some, dignity left in actors' lives. So when Glenn Close agreed to this, my mom and my dad were both like, "We have to see this." Did you see this as a kid, or was this your first time seeing it?
Oh no, I definitely saw this movie several times as a kid.
And
I definitely remember seeing it like in school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be this guy about this, which I hate to be this guy, but
be the guy.
Something that really bugged me throughout the movie is that where does the movie take place? Do you remember?
I think London, right?
London, England. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what doesn't exist in all of the United Kingdom? Raccoons and skunks.
Oh,
Yet
they don't?
both animals are prominently featured in the plot of this movie. Not just like one raccoon that got out of a zoo. No. There's like multiple families of raccoons that just live in London. And it bothered me so much, and I can't tell you why, but it really seems like one of those things that someone brought up to John Hughes, and they were like, "Can't we make it something else, like something that exists in London?" And he was like, "No, raccoons are funny. Gotta have raccoons. They got little hands."
Yes, I could see that. I could see him being like, "I'm John Hughes. I want raccoons. Make it raccoons."
Yeah.
No one's gonna know that they're. So wait, there's no raccoons in England, really?
No, they don't exist in England
Or
any of the.
Like the Beatles, they all move as soon as they show up.
I think raccoons are only in like North America.
Oh, okay. And so no skunks either.
Skunks also, I believe, are maybe not only in North America, but they're definitely not. No, they got it should have been like foxes. Although you can't train a fox. Although you could just.
Well, they were CGI the Dalmatians. So.
Yeah, they CGI the Dalmatians, and they've made robot puppets out of raccoons. So I guess he could have done it, but yeah, Glenn Close, she nailed it. I'm sure. I bet you she brought it up too. I bet you she brought it up and was like, "Wait a minute, is she English? She's not American."
No,
right?
I think she's American.
Really?
I think you always assume if you're a great actress, you're from.
Yeah, exactly. If you've been a great actor for my entire life, then I assume you're English in secret.
Yeah, that was me with someone. I forget who. Oh, my friend thought George R.R. Martin was from England. And I'm like, no, dude, he's from Long Island. He's like an Islanders. He's a Jets fan. Like, what? They thought he lived like a hobbit in London with his pipe. I'm going to write about the stocks and it's so
I always I watched Saturday Night Live for the first time in forever, and it was Carrie Mulligan, and she started doing the monologue with an English accent, but it sounded really weird, and I'm like, oh, is she doing a bit? She's not English. Is she doing a bit that people think she's English? And then they just did the whole monologue, and then she said something about her husband is the dude from Mumford and Sons,
ugh,
and
I
and
hate
he like she mentions him and he like stands up in the audience and he starts talking with a British accent, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're British too? What the fuck is happening? Who is what?
Oh yeah. Well, it still blows my mind when what's his name, the kid who plays Spider-Man, the new one, Tom Holland, when he talks and his British accent, I'm just like, I'm always taken aback because he's from Britain. Henry Cavill's from Britain too.
Oh yeah, that's
So it's
there.
always
They send like there's only maybe 10 pretty people born a year in England, and they eventually all become actors.
and they
They
all
just
just come here.
Yeah, they ship them over to America as soon as possible and start acting, and the rest of them stay back and look like the queen.
Oh man. Um, so you would rank this movie above 100, the original 101, you would say.
I definitely was entertained more. I mean, the original one is probably I mean it's classic Disney animation, which is always like it's great, but um I mean if I'm just gonna like sit down and watch a movie, I would probably choose this one over it.
Okay.
Uh,
Interesting. I would still choose the animated film. I like this movie. I thought it dragged. I gotta tell you though, Hugh Laurie, what a come up in his career because he looked like an idiot in this movie. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. Say what you will about the Home Alone movies, they looked like idiots without looking like idiots. And what I mean
yeah.
by that is like I always felt like even Joe Pesci was getting his balls lit on fire and shit, he was still Joe Pesci. Like there was like this like attitude to him that came through. But Hugh Laurie just looked like a retard in this film. And but thankfully, now he's one of the great actors with House, and I think he did a show for AMC, and people love him now. But I thought Hugh Laurie came across very bad in this film. I don't know what you thought. I thought he looked stupid. He didn't.
I think I know
was
what
not
you
as good as
mean.
Daniel Stern.
Like when you watch Daniel Stern play Marv, it's he's acting stupid on purpose. Whereas but say what you will, Hugh Laurie I thought was like he did the best he could given what it seemed like he just really wanted to work with Glenn Close. You know what I mean? Like it was like
Yeah.
I'll take any role as long as I get to work with this amazing actor. So
That's true. I mean, just to be, I'm sure like so many people probably, as the moment they got Glenn Close, so many people probably said yes to this movie because it really was the smartest thing they ever did casting her in this role. It really was. I think this would have just been.
She originally, I think she originally turned it down because he was doing some Broadway play or Broadway musical or something, and then they went and it was going to be Sigourney Weaver, and like
she would have been good too, actually.
Yeah, she made it really far into like pre-production or whatever, and then she had to drop out, and then there was some other woman that read for it and did like a test screening, and then she had to drop out, and then by that time it was like a year and a half later, and they circled back around to Glenn Close, and she had finished doing her Broadway thing, and she was like, all right, yeah, I'll do this.
I really do think that Glenn Close, she had such a cachet to her at the time that anyone else, even Sigourney Weaver, I love Sigourney Weaver, don't get me wrong, but Sigourney Weaver was losing that cachet by 1996, 1997, whereas Glenn Close still had it. And that's another weird thing about actresses is that when actresses fade, they fucking fade, man. It's like insane. Like Andie MacDowell now, was the last thing she did was an ABC Family show where she's like the third lead. And Meg Ryan had a sitcom and it got canceled, but I didn't get.
Yeah, but hold on. But those people are not great actors.
No, but even Glenn Close, I feel like Glenn Close should still be a big deal. I feel like
she was in Damages. That was
a good show, but like I just feel like she should be in more films. I don't know. Maybe it's her choice, but like I just feel like when the female stars fade, they fade, whereas male stars.
No, but if I disagree. The same thing happens to just when whatever you like, you're really good, you're an actor, and you're really good at one thing. Meg Ryan was really good at being cute and being in romantic situations.
That's right. She's an old bitch.
Once rom-coms stopped being like a part of our everyday life, she stopped being relevant because she wasn't versatile.
Mhm.
Whereas you have someone like Helen Mirren who can you can put her in literally any role and she's gonna nail it.
And they're testing that right now. She just got put in Shazam. So
yeah, and Olivia Colman is an amazing actress, and I think she's in her 50s. Meryl Streep is still like nailing every single role she's ever done. Like, there's still a lot of if you're good.
Jamie Lee Curtis shattered the box office records with the last Halloween of a film starring a woman over 50.
Yeah, so that's like people. Well, she's still playing that same role she played when she was 20, but still.
But she does a good job.
The character is better. The character is better now. Man, that was a good movie.
I can't wait. I don't know why they delayed. It was supposed to come out last Halloween, and they delayed it. I would have put it out on demand. I guarantee you, if they put that out on demand last Halloween, nobody would have left their house. They would have sat and watched that on demand because I think it would have made more money last Halloween putting it on demand than in theaters this year. But whatever. I just hope it doesn't get delayed again. I really hope it comes out this Halloween.
Yeah, there's so many movies that I am looking forward to seeing that I just completely forgot that they were supposed to be out by now. Like my whole radar for when movies are coming out dropped off. Like, for the love of God, what do I have to do to see the new Ghostbusters movie? Do I have to get cancer and beg somebody? Because you
gotta get everyone vaccinated so we can fucking.
I want to fucking see this movie. I'm not even that big of a Ghostbusters person. But that trailer looks incredible. You got Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd and a bunch of kids finding the Ghostbusters stuff. Sign me up. That sounds amazing.
That sounds dope. Yeah, you're right. My movie radar, because this would be the time where we'd be gearing up for the summer movie season because it starts around the 1st of May, and there's almost no more summer movie, any type of season of movies. I saw Godzilla Kong in a drive-in. I had to go inside, and that felt nice to be in a drive-in and see it. But what looks good is the trailer came out today. Finally, this fucking asshole made a good movie. Zack Snyder, Land of the Dead or Army of the Dead. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I just watched the trailer this afternoon. Yeah,
that looks that's something he gets. He doesn't get Batman, Superman. He gets that. But the cool thing about it that I didn't realize was Chris Stefano. No, he's my friend. Chris D'Elia was the pilot in the movie, and after the accusations came out, they replaced him with Tig Notaro. They reshot scenes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And
that's fucking funny.
I was sitting there and thinking to myself, because I feel like he's going to be headlining Caroline's when they reopen and stuff. I'm like, these comedy clubs are literally all they have to do is just not call this guy, and you don't really need Chris D'Elia to have a successful comedy club. Nobody does. But they're still going to use him. Meanwhile, Zack Snyder, who's the biggest shit on the planet, was like, oh, I can't have this guy movie. Went and reshot scenes for his movie. Put up the money to reshoot scenes just so he wouldn't have someone that problematic in his film. And I'm like, if Zack Snyder can do the work, comedy clubs can do the work. But they won't. You'll see him in Florida, I'm sure, headlining. So.
Oh, yeah. Louis C.K. headlines once a month over here. Pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it's just these clubs literally don't have to do any work to not have these people here. They just don't have to pick up the phone. And it's just Zack Snyder can do it, and he's the worst person on the planet. He should be arrested as a war criminal for Batman v Superman. But he can do it, and the Chuckle Factory in Minnesota can't. So,
do you think Chris D'Elia should be arrested?
No, even though he probably slept with children, he just shouldn't have a career. I don't know. Is it a worse crime to make Batman v Superman or sleep with a kid? I'm going to say Batman v Superman is the worst.
I'm going to say sleep with a kid is much worse on a lot of levels.
Oh, you got to rewatch that movie and you come back.
But how great would it be to watch Batman beat the shit out of Chris D'Elia for raping kids?
That would be great. See, Zack Snyder should have that as a bonus scene. He should have Chris D'Elia and get beat up by Batman. And then Glenn Close shows up as Crow and the Bill makes a coat out of him. There you go.
That'd be great. I'd watch that movie.
So we are going to pause for today. Mike, is there anything you want to plug?
No, I'm just I'm gonna be releasing whenever I get done with this book. I'm gonna be releasing it for free.
Okay.
Because wrestling fans don't have any money,
No, they don't.
so I'm just gonna. It's a fictional story that takes place in the world of professional wrestling. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, I think that you would like it. It's got funny moments. It's got sad moments. It's gonna be a good book, and it's gonna be free.
And you know what? I got to give you. I'm thinking about writing a book. I do want to write. I want to write a book about my time going into the brothel, because I think that's a good story. Because when but like I'm going to give you a praise for going outside your comfort zone and trying new things. Because so many comedians did not do that during this. They fucking sat in place, bitched and moaned, and broke rules to do exactly what they were doing in 2018, 2017. And you're doing something different. You're writing a book, and I'm proud of you, man. That shows me growth, and that shows to me that like you're willing to work with the situation.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm. I've been doing comedy long enough to know it's not the most important thing in the world, but having a creative outlet is.
I've come to the conclusion that if there's ever a nuclear war between like China, Russia, and the United States, and 70% of the country is wiped out, but like there's like a plot of land in Montana that's livable, there's gonna be bringer shows at that plot of land. Like Evan Weiss will be there on a horse, barking in a bringer show. and they'll be like, people need this. That's always something everyone says with Tom. People need this. Meanwhile, everyone's gonna be mutating. There's gonna be ears growing out of our dicks. Fucking, they'll just be bringing. Hey, I was gonna bring, but my mom died of radiation poisoning. Well, I can't put you on. Sorry. So, Mike, we will be back. This is the first time ever. First time a guest is on. Well, I haven't had that many two-time guests. Actually, you're only second, but this is the first time a guest is going to be on back-to-back episodes. Next week, you will be back to discuss 102 Dalmatians. Are you excited?
Oh yeah, I'm very, very excited for this movie. I watched a little clip of it when I finished 101 Dalmatians, and it looks so fucking dumb. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I heard this one's putrid, but Glenn Close agreed to it, so I'm like, if anything, she's gonna deliver. So the Glenn Close Fest continues next week with 102 Dalmatians. Guys, if you enjoyed this, is your first time listening to the podcast, you're a Mike Guild fan or a Glenn Close fan, 101 Dalmatians, or a big fan of Chris D'Elia. I've done every Disney animated film and Pixar film, and now we're on live action remakes. Please subscribe to the podcast at Goose's Disney Pod. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Ray Goots. Are you still Mr. Industry on Instagram?
Yeah, Mr. Industry. MR Industry.
Follow him. He's the head of the industry, Mr. Industry, on Instagram. And we will be back next week with 102 Dalmatians. Mike, I'll see you then.
See you, buddy.